What's up, duelists? Every once in a while, I get the urge to play Diva Frogs. And yesterday, when I was playing Gravekeepers, trying to get my Gravekeeper steal on, I was like, damn, I kind of want to play Diva Frog so I can play Salvage, which is basically the same exact card. This is my Diva Frog list. I'm going to explain the card choices a little bit. I'll explain the sideboard a little bit. I've got 2 replays for you guys. Another sort of quick video. I'm not sure if the quick videos are good or if they're bad. Let me know in the comments below if you like them. Also, subscribe and join the Discord if you want to play an RBET this weekend. Okay, the list. Triple Diva, gotta have them. Double Spine Gilman. Now, I know some people play 1 Gilman, 1 Archer. I don't like this. I think if you draw Gilman, it's better to just have Gilman. He's a little bit more powerful when you don't have a graveyard. He can run over things. You can trade with Bora and stuff. So it's just a better stat line when you don't have a grave set up. When your hand is bricked, I think he's a little bit better than Archer, which is just a 1200 vanilla if you have no grave. So I like Spine Gilman. It's kind of corner case. Obviously, Archer has some applications, but Gilman is definitely more my preference in these style of lists. Double Dupe Frog, I don't really think you need the third. I am playing both Unifrog and Flip Flop Frog. I think this deck struggles a lot with Royal Oppression, so Unifrog is just an extra way to deal with that. Unlike the regular Frog builds, we have Triple Diva, so we play in Depression quite a bit more than average. Triple Caius is the best Monarch. Double Rise, that's the next best Monarch. Battle Fader Trap Gores for defense. I've got 1 Treacherous Trap Hole also for defense. Now, one of the best cards in Deep Sea Diva Monarchs in general is Enemy Controller. Normally, in Frog Monarchs, they want to play like 1 copy Enemy Controller because it's only really live when Treeborn Frog is in the grave. However, in Diva Monarchs, it's actually just basically Brain Control copies 2 through 4. Because if you summon Deep Sea Diva, you get a second monster from your deck. Let's say you get a Gilman. Your opponent goes bottomless on your Gilman. You can chain Enemy Controller, sack your Gilman, take their monster, synchro it with the Diva, and you're just up like a bajillion cards. Even if they don't have a bottomless for your Gilman, you can go Diva into Diva, Enemy Controller, take their guy, synchro. It's just an extra copy of Brain Control, basically. 1 Pot of Avarice to shuffle back your synchros, 1 for 1 because it's broken. That's pretty much the main deck here. Salvage, also very broken in this deck, as well as Moray of Greed. In the sideboard, we got 2 Cyber Dragons for Machina, obviously. 2 Raikos. I do like Raiko a lot in the Diva Monarch lists. The reason being is because it sets up for your salvage, which is actually really nice. Sometimes you'll have salvages that are bricked in the opening and Morays that are bricked in the opening, and if a Raiko resolves and you mill a water or 2 or something, you can maybe get out of that situation. Also, Raiko is just another out to Royal Oppression, which is super nice. Gotta have Vanity's Fiend for the quick draw matchup, Frog Mirror, Twister again for Royal Oppression, Black Whirlwind, Mask of Restrict, that kind of thing. Double Soul Release, this is just for graveyard stuff, Lightsworn stuff. Double Deck Dev, so one of the cool things about Diva Monarchs is you can summon Deep Sea Diva, make Catastor, turn 1 have a Deck Dev live, or you can sack off your Caius, your Gores, your Trag, or your Vanity's Fiends for a Deck Dev as well. Torrential Bottomless, obviously for Blackwings, also can help out against Lightsworn, which is a tricky matchup. You just want summon stops, basically, cut them off of their Black Whirlwind searches, cut them off of the tempo, and then like maybe mix their shit up with a Caius or a Synchro Monster or something and go from there. That's the general state of things. Extra deck, the only like super special card is the Gashilnadon. Other than that, it's all straightforward synchros, including the Dark End because you can synchro with Caius or Trag to make Dark End. Replay number 1 is against Soundboy. I lose the die roll, which is unfortunate. I do like to go first, as I'm sure everyone else does. He starts off with Necro Valley Pass, and this is part of the reason I hate doing Gravekeepers videos, is because then I have to play against people who play Gravekeepers. And I don't know, man. A lot of people are playing, Gravekeepers with Royal Tribute, which in my opinion is a high roll deck. It's like playing roulette. Either you Royal Tribute someone, they have a bunch of monsters and you win, or you Royal Tribute someone and then you brick on your extra tributes and you brick on your Necro Valleys and you lose, and they just stick a Caius somewhere in there and you get your shit mixed. So, I don't know. Usually when I have to play against Gravekeepers, it's like that, so I'm never excited to see Necro Valley turn 1, especially with a hand with 5 monsters. That being said, we do have access to Treeborn, which is really nice. Treeborn in Edison format is not stopped by Necro Valley. So the way Edison Necro Valley works, the errata at the time was like cards that don't target, that affect themselves in the graveyard, can still happen. So Treeborn and Plague can still happen. Now stuff like Colossal Fighter can't happen because Colossal Fighter targets, but Treeborn and Plague don't target, so they can come out. Stuff like Red Eyes Wyvern can't activate because it needs to banish. Mizuki can't activate because it needs to banish. They also need to target. But Treeborn and Plague are free games, so if our Treeborn gets Royal Tributed, we can still stick a Monarch. We go ahead and just set that Treeborn and pass. There's an argument to set Substitoad too, but getting Treeborn in the grave is good. So, opponent sets a couple back row, passes a turn. We pick up Moray of Greed. I just gun it because it's basically upstart. I'm never going to go for Substitute into back row blind here because that'll just get me owned by like a deck dev or something later, which I don't really want it to happen. Or it could get me owned by a Royal Oppression now. We pick up that Gilman again, which sucks, but what can you do? We have a lot of dead cards into Necro Valley in this particular build. If you look at our list, Triple Savage and Avarice are all dead into Necro Valley. So one thing I'm going to try to do is get that Necro Valley out of play. Looks like the opponent's a little bit monster light. Hopefully this this Gilman can like initiate some pressure. So we summon Gilman, we attack, right? Deal some damage. Set Treacherous. If they do find a monster off the top, we can pop it in our Treeborn. Next turn, Ryza their Necro Valley, so they're just dead drawing Necro Valley again next turn, and then we can kill them. So that's generally the plan here. Go for Gilman for the first strike. Set the Treacherous Trap hole. Opponent draws. They find Upstart, basically affirming my suspicions that they are on some sort of like Royal Tribute Turbo garbage. God, I hate Royal Tribute Turbo. It's just like, you're just playing roulette, literally. You're just like, is my Royal Tribute going to get there or not? Because the deck is not very good if the Royal Tribute doesn't get there. Gravekeepers Commandant's the summon. This is the monster they must have found. They're going to swing at my Gilman. I'm going to use the Treacherous to pop my Treeborn and the Gilman. They set a new back row. We're able to bring out the Treeborn. We can sack for Ryza, target the Necro Valley. This is our plan. Our plan is initiated. Unfortunately, we've drawn 2 of our 4 bricks in Necro Valley, but if this Ryza can activate and like resolve and our Gilman dies, at least we'll be able to salvage back Treeborn and Gilman. They do have Solemn for Ryza, but that's A-okay with me. We're going to be able to get in 1,700 points of damage. And if they're not drawing a monster next turn, they're straight up dead. Just straight up dead. They draw a card. They set new back rows. They Royal Tribute us. Suspicions confirmed. Hitting 2 of my monsters. I reveal the last 2 cards. He discards a Blue Eyes, and I'm like, what the fuck? I say, the fuck is this? And then he concedes and leaves the match. This is another thing that I hate about Royal Tribute cheesers, is that they just load up their deck, they hope to kill you game 1, and when they don't, they just cry like a little bitch and run away. Which I fucking hate. Never do this, never waste my time, never load up games with me if you don't want to play the full match. This is a best 2 of 3 game. If you can't play a best 2 of 3, I understand things come up, but if this is the case, yeah, never do this. It's really, really rude. It wastes my time. It wastes the viewer's time. It's very disrespectful. Honestly, kind of like playing Royal Tribute Turbo. Okay, next replay. We've got replay against Fanfaro ITA, so Powerful Italian Duelist. We win the die roll, so we get very lucky winning the die roll here. We open up with 1 for 1 and a normal summon, so I'm very happy. I pitch Battle Fader because we got Gores, and then I get Substote. I normal summon the Unifrog. Now we are going to lose our Unifrog, but maybe we can find salvage to get him back later. I just go through all the frogs. I end on dupe flip because that's like kind of what you usually end on this. You usually don't go for double dupe. The reason being is if they just have a Raikou, it can be kind of annoying to play into Torrential with your Monarch. Whereas this, you can play into Torrential without using your Monarch, more or less. We set the flip, pass a turn. He sets a monster, sets 2 back row, passes a turn. We pick up Moray. A little bit awkward. We have no water monsters here. Here comes the Treeborn. Here comes the flip-flop. Flip-flop try to bounce their monster. They chain Icarus, which kind of sucks. This is a 2 for 3 because we lost the discard on the 1 for 1, but we gain the card advantage back by having the Treeborn Frog. They are going to kill both our monsters. We are going to miss timing on the dupe frog because Icarus attack was chain link 2. We are going to sack the Treeborn for Ryza, target their back row. If this walks, then we're just able to get in a big hit. If they have another monster, we can Caius it next turn maybe. Just like lock them on these 4 cards and just have a good time here. Attack for 24. And we're back at parity basically, but we have a 2400 guy in play and they don't really have a great grave setup. Hold up, I got a cough. Man, this lingering cough is killing me. Anyway, they set 2, they pass. We pick up Avarice, which is great because we have a fat graveyard now. We go for that, I believe, after the Treeborn comes out. Now, the reason I bring out Treeborn here is because Blackwings generally don't play Torrential Tribute. I've seen some lists play it, but for the most part, they don't because it's an anchor monster deck. And if you're killing your own anchor monster, it's pretty bad most of the time. So a lot of the time, Torrential Tribute is like a conditional trap hole in that deck, which is not really where you want to be. Anyway, we Avarice back some of our high value targets. I make a misplay here. My misplay is shuffling back 3 subs, flip, and uni. What I should have done was shuffle back 2 subs, flip, uni, and dupe. Because that way, if I draw salvage, I still have a Substitute in my graveyard. So that was a bit of a misplay on my part, but no punish. We didn't draw the salvage, so we just attack for 24. We get Deprison. That could have been the one we spun last turn. This turn, We just set the Tretch, pass. We can Tretch their summon. They go for Black Whirlwind. Perfect for us. We can Tretch on the summon, and we can then Caius the Black Whirlwind. Take over this game. From here, we pick up Heavy Storm, but we don't need to use it. The reason being is if we Heavy Storm, we can't even summon the Caius to pressure. So I really like summoning the Caius here. Using Caius to deal with the back rows. Holding the Heavy Storm for future back rows, like Royal Oppression off the top. That can give us an issue. Caius banishes the Whirlwind. We attack directly for 24. This runs into a second copy of Deep Prison, which is good to know about. This guy's on multiple Deep Prison. Now, Deep Prison is not a bad card by any means, especially in this match. I actually don't even think it's that bad in this matchup. It's a little bit awkward into Ryza because you're just going to take 24 and be draw locked, but other than that, it's not too bad. Goes ahead and finds a back row, sets it. We pick up that salvage. Again, there's that misplay. At least we still have Moray here, so it's not the worst case scenario. We salvage back the swaps. I think we Moray. No, we salvage back the swap dupe, and then we Moray the non-swap frogs back into the deck. Draw 3, find Gilman, which is good pressure. We go for some Gilman action. They take 1700. We set an econ to protect our dudes and pass. They find a back row. I go for Heavy Storm because I have a kill here. Now, the cool thing about Gilman is not only does it pump itself up, it pumps up all my little frogs. So this guy's 17. Treeborn Frog is 500. Swap Frog plus Swap Frog is well over 39. And I can get another Swap Frog by going for the salvage to grab him and the material to pitch for him in the graveyard. Chain's book, but we can just flip that guy anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And that's going to be game 1 against Blackwings. Pretty solid stuff. We were in control from the first turn of the game. Let's see how well we can do going second. Opponent gets to go first, set some back row, summon Shura. This is annoying, but we have Brain Caius, so I'm just going to go for it. I Brain the Shura. Can't really chain Icarus to this. This is blanking Icarus. We attack for 18. If he has Deep Prison, he has an opportunity to use it. But even if that's the case, we can just set Dupe Frog, and I'm actually kind of happy with that. We know he doesn't have Whirlwind, so we don't need to commit our bottomless into something like an Icarus. We go ahead and attack for 18. Main phase 2, sack for Caius. Caius banish one of the back rows. I believe we hit the middle. No, we don't. We hit the far right, and then he chains bottomless. So we do get our nice little 2-for-1 there, off the, or 3-for-2 off the Brain Caius, which is pretty good. And now I do set the bottomless just because if they have like another Shura, I would like to remove it if possible. Or if they have something like a Blizzy, I would like to banish the Shura. So they go for Gale. A little bit awkward. Now bottomless is kind of stuck there, but if they want to apply any meaningful pressure throughout this game, they're going to have to play into bottomless. The Blackwing deck just plays into bottomless. They have to play into it, or else they can't do anything. That's like that's just the nature of the deck. And that's why you can see he left in the Space Typhoon against a deck that typically plays 1 or 0 back row. I draw my Space Typhoon. I just set the dupe and pass. If we get Icarus here, it's fine. We get a search. Attacks with Gale. Flips my dupe. Now, this is a read I have that their old back row is not Icarus because they could have the dupe, then chain Icarus to pop both and get a situation where they make our dupe miss timing. Instead, they just have the dupe and pass. So I think that their old back row is not Icarus. That's my read right now. I draw my Space Typhoon. I just set it and pass because why not? We have a bunch of targets. If they go for something like Whirlwind Summon Kalut, I'll be happy I have the Space Typhoon down. They attack the dupe. We get a search for Swap Frog. Pretty good stuff here. They pass the turn. We pick up Salvage, which is really nice. We go for Swap Frog. No, we go for Space Typhoon on the new back row, which was most likely to be Icarus. I wanted to make sure we cleared the Icarus before we went for any sort of big play. I go normal swap, send Treeborn. Here they think. They go ahead and crow both of our monsters, which basically tells me their last card is Dark Arm Dragon. I go ahead and just bounce my Swap Frog and pass. Now, I could have attacked the Gale and enemy controllered it to defense, but I actually really need this Swap Frog, so in the off chance, or not off chance, in the high chance their last back row is Deep Prison, we know they play multiple Deep Prison, then our whole hand is shut off. Whereas if we just keep our Swap Frog, don't swing it into a Deep Prison necessarily, we can get our Salvage online pretty quickly, and we can also get our Morays online pretty quickly. They attack us for 13, we can take that hit, they set another back row, and then they actually go back here and special summon Dark Arm before attacking, which is fine. I let them do it just because I have bottomless, so it's the same thing as if they had summoned it in main 2 anyway. I'm just going to bottomless it regardless. And that's another reason to side bottomless against this deck is it stops Dark Armed, which fucks your shit up. So we bottomless that guy, we take the 13, and then on our turn we pick up a second enemy controller, normal to Swap Frog, send the Treeborn, attack. If they have Deep Prison now, we can enemy controller pitch or sack our swap, take their Gale, attack directly, main phase 2, salvage, get back Treeborn, swap, pitch Treeborn to swap, special swap, send another water from our deck to the grave, synchro with the Gale in the swap into Android. So we have a pretty big play there if they have D-Prison. And if not, I can just enemy controller switch their shit to defense, which is what I end up doing and killing it. Now I get to bounce my Swap Frog and pass the turn. They find Bora off the top. This is real pressure, but again, our Swap Frog can answer it on its own. We pick up Unifrog, which is really good. Treeborn Frog comes back here. We pitch to special Swap Frog. They let this happen, which I don't agree with. They have Royal Oppression. They should actually flip the Royal Oppression and stop us. If they stop us, then we're forced to do some pretty suboptimal shit. Plus now Treeborn's in play. They can pierce it with the Bora. It's really awkward. So I do like them using the Royal Oppression now as opposed to waiting. But I understand waiting in any case. We salvage back our monsters. Now this I think is actually just a strict misplay. They should, pardon me, they should definitely Royal Oppression the first activation of Substitute. They wait for the last activation. So we go Swap Frog, send the shit, specials out Dupe Frog. They Royal Oppression the last activation. So we attack the Bora. We're able to enemy controller to defense. Bounce the Swap Frog, and now we can moray away our monsters. Hopefully find something good. We've already normaled, which is awkward, but we do find Heavy Storm Diva, and that should allow us to take control of this game, especially with the Salvage Moray combo that we can go for next turn as well. We pass the turn. Here comes Kalut. This is pretty big damage. This is going to put us pretty low, but we just got to do what we got to do. We get back Treeborn here because I want to be able to make Thought Ruler. I'm not sure I made the best play here, but I don't know. I go for Heavy Storm. They, unfortunately for us, have Starlight, so we have to chain Royal Oppression. We drop to 700. This makes our position much scarier because we died to a lot more things randomly, and it basically forces us to go for Thought Ruler. So we have to go Salvage, add back our dudes, go Synchro with the Swap Frog into whatever Frog, into whoever Frog. I probably should have pitched the Substitute instead of the Swap Frog there to keep the extra special in our hand in case we needed that for the future. Thought Ruler plays around Brain Control off the top, but it does not play around Blizzy into Yugioh off the top. So if that happens, we just get fucked and we lose. I'm playing around Brain Control, though, because I'd be much more mauled if that happened. And also, if they go Blizzy Yugioh, we have an extra draw step, whereas if they go Brain Control, we lose on the spot. So at least in the Blizzy situation, we have an extra turn, whereas with Brain Control, it's better to hedge against that because that kills us immediately. I think it's a higher percentage, even though they play 3 copies of Blizzard and 1 copy of Brain Control. I think it's still better just because Blizzard doesn't immediately technically kill us, even though it probably kills us, whereas Brain Control definitely immediately kills us, so we should play around that. We go ahead and draw, we find Deep Sea Diva, and that's just going to be lethal with the Treeborn. We make Yugioh Guardian, and we're good to go. They picked up Shura, but that's not going to do anything into Thought Ruler, and we were able to control this match, play accurately, and win off the backs of our repeated salvage and enemy controller activations, which are the power cards in this deck. Let me know what you guys think about this deck list. I actually think this is a really clean deck list for this type of deck. I know a lot of people have been cutting enemy controllers, but I think that in the Diva list, it's probably the best, if not one of the best cards you can actually play the max 3 copies of. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I'll see you guys in the next vid. Peace.